Bands of heavy snow are in the forecast for some on Saturday. I'm tracking who could see the most snow, and we have team coverage of the winter weather preparations.
Plus, bracing for snow. The plows are ready to go and the roads have been brined in Rocky Mount. That city could see some of the heaviest snow in the area. How they're preparing before the first flakes fall.
Breaking news, the power's back on at RDU. Coming up, what we've learned about tonight's outage.
Here it comes. A winter storm warning and a state of emergency are in effect. A week after an ice storm, a snowstorm is on our doorstep. This is Futurecast. We're expecting between 3 and 6 inches of snow in the Raleigh area, more to our east and to our west. Meteorologist Kat Campbell we'll have a live report for the field. First, let's go to meteorologist Kat Campbell. You've been working these numbers for a week, Kat. We're right there where you need to get them. What are we seeing?
Well, we are already seeing the snowfall begin in some of our northern counties. Carr Lake, take a look at the snow falling at this hour. Carr Lake has seen a couple of hours of snowfall, and we actually just a short time ago saw one of the plows driving down the street here. So they're ready. They're not plowing just yet, but they are on the roads and kind of monitoring the situation. The snow is limited to our northern counties up toward the Virginia border, and it hasn't accumulated much just yet. The heavier snowfall rates are going to pick up tomorrow. So here's the setup. We've got the upper level energy approaching from the west, and then our coastal low is going to be spinning up offshore pretty soon. What's new today, a later arrival of the snow. For the triangle, it may not be until tomorrow morning, really. And then as we look ahead, our snowfall totals are trending higher in our eastern counties and lower in our northern counties. So here's our latest snowfall forecast. 6 to 10 inches for the area in the darkest shade of blue east of the triangle, 3 to 6 inches in the triangle point south and west, and 1 to 3 inches for areas just north of the triangle where they may not have as much moisture to work with. It's a tricky setup. We've got the upper level energy diving in from the west thanks to the jet stream pattern, and then we've got low pressure that forms because of it to our east, and this may set up 2 snowfall sweet spots across North Carolina, 1 to our east and 1 to our west, with us nudged in the middle. Doesn't mean no snow, but we may not be seeing those big snowfall totals like some other areas in our state see. Looking ahead overnight, this is a brand new run of Futurecast that just loaded into our box, so I am seeing it with you for the first time. It's our in-house Barron model. Overnight around 4 a.m., it's still showing the snow picking up in the triangle and sticking around into the afternoon. Relatively light during the afternoon with some heavier banding as we get into the evening hours. After midnight, we will gradually see the snowfall move out of here, and by the time you wake up Sunday morning, the bulk of it's going to be gone. A winter storm warning in effect already. It'll be in effect through 7 a.m. Sunday morning. Meteorologist Mike Mays will join me for team coverage and the latest on our probabilities for certain thresholds of snow coming up.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Kat. We're on top of breaking news happening right now at 7. In the last 25 minutes, the power was restored at RDU International. Eric Miller joins us live from the airport in front of Terminal 2. Eric, Duke Energy said that this was all because of an equipment issue.
Gerald, an equipment issue at a nearby substation that not only serves RDU, but about 1,800 other customers in this area as well. Now, just literally in the last 90 seconds, we've had an update from the airport ping in on our phones here. It let us know that the airport systems are coming back up online. We are still working to learn, though, whether this outage has had any impact on flights here at RDU. You take a look at some of these photos, you get a sense of really just how surreal this outage was here at the airport. Customers inside telling us they were plunged into the absolute pitch black. All of this happened right around 5:30. Duke again says this was a problem at a substation, but they're having to investigate, figure out exactly what went wrong here. Again, bizarre moments for customers. Take a listen to what one passenger experienced.
If you were in an actual store, completely pitch black. Luckily, like I said, it was about 5:37, so there was still that little glow of the outside that you could make your way through. But we sat in the pitch black for about 15 minutes because we couldn't pay our bill.
Now, that passenger there, Kim Stein, says she saw customers literally wandering around, cell phones in their hands, trying to shine lights around to navigate the terminal. She says she was in the dark, the complete dark, for about 5 minutes before some kind of generators or backup systems kicked on and were able to illuminate everything besides those stores, those restaurants where she was sitting there at the time. Now, RDU says they're working to restore power for the other customers impacted by this outage. According to their outage map, that is about 800 people in this area at this time, but they were able to set up essentially a backup system that has fully restored power to RDU. At RDU, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
Thank you, Eric. Let's go back to our winter weather coverage as the storm heads this way. Here's a live look at Carr Lake there. You can't see the lake because it's so dark, but look at that snow falling. We've been watching this fall for about 15 minutes. Just flurries now, but it is coming down. The WRAL team has you covered in the newsroom and out in the field as the storm moves in. Brian Schrader's in the live center. Kirsten Clark is live in Rocky Mount. And Heidi Kirk is in the WRAL Storm Tracker. We're going to start there with you, Heidi. You're on Avon Ferry Road in Raleigh.
Gerald, that is absolutely right. And we've been driving around all afternoon and evening long, really monitoring the current conditions out on the road. And I want to flip it around and show you a couple of different things. So what you're looking at right now, that is some ice built up on the sidewalk and then also pushed up right next up to the road. And now I'm going to give you a different vantage point here. If you notice those white lines on the road, that is because the brine trucks have been through getting ready for this next round of winter weather. But when it comes to that snow buildup that we just showed you a second ago, the snow, the ice, that is what's really presenting some challenges for the city of Raleigh as they're preparing for this next round of winter weather. Now, city officials are urging people stay off the roads, especially as that snow starts to fall, because of these conditions that are already existing out on the roads. The combination really could lead to some dangerous conditions, even more so than we saw last weekend. Now, Raleigh natives say that ice that's lingering, it's something that's pretty new to them.
I feel like it's like one of the first times where I've kind of seen it just stay around like the whole week. So it'd be interesting how it builds up again.
And again, it's not just the roads, it's also the sidewalks. In fact, I've been walking around Raleigh over the last week or so, and there are some seriously slick spots, as you can see, really just right here. So over the next few days, we're going to be monitoring all the conditions, both from the storm tracker, also with our crews out on the ground, and we will, of course, bring you the latest. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in the storm tracker.
All right, Heidi, those roads are going to look a lot different this time tomorrow night. Thank you. Let's go over to Kirsten Clark. She's in Rocky Mount, one of the areas that could see the highest snow totals, between 6 and 10 inches expected. Kirsten, they've been preparing since Thursday. Are they ready?
Yeah, Gerald, the salt and brine that drivers are seeing on the roads are thanks to Rocky Mount Public Works. Crews are done for the night, but their work is just beginning. Public Works Director Tim Farmer told me that his team finished brining today. He says that they put out about 12,000 gallons of brine, salted and sanded 32 bridges, and treated 257 land miles of city streets. Farmer says once the snow actually accumulates here, Public Works will run 11 snow plows with a few spares in case they're needed.
We'll hit the ground running in the morning about 6:30, 7 o'clock once we get good light, so we'll be safe. Safety is always first. And we'll hit the street and check the levels, and we'll do a test area on some local streets to see how the snow is plowing. And then we'll hit full force as the snow accumulates.
You heard him there. They'll hit full force. He says problem areas are on bridges and steep inclines, and he says his crews will monitor those areas closer. Now, once the snow starts falling, drivers are advised to stay off the roads, but if you do have to be out here, drive carefully and proceed with caution. Live in Rocky Mount, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Thank you, Kirsten. Let's send thanks to Brian Schrader in the live center. Brian, the snow is falling in some communities. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, right there in our border counties, the North Carolina-Virginia border, that Carr Lake camera, of course, the most spectacular one that we're seeing right now with that snow falling. And I've noticed here in the past couple of minutes, you can see it is starting to stick, certainly to elevated surfaces, but also it looks like it may be starting to stick at least a little bit to the roads there. It's been so cold, it's not going to take much for that to start sticking and really start to accumulate, especially in those areas areas where we see heavier snowfall. So especially in our northern counties, we're going to see those driving conditions deteriorating as we head through the night. This is a live look right now at 85 just north of Henderson. Kind of hard to see, but there are some snow flurries showing up here on this camera. And when the vehicles go by, the lights are illuminating the road there, and it looks pretty wet. So we are starting to see some of this sticking, and it's probably going to get much worse in those areas as we head through the rest of the night.
And hopefully that, Brian, works the way it should.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian. It has been a few busy weeks for the DOT. They're still cleaning up after last weekend's ice storm. Now they're preparing for this one. Crews have already dropped more than 300,000 gallons of brine on local roadways, and they are closely monitoring the forecast. 62 power crew members from Milwaukee arrived today to help get the roads open and keep the snow cleared. And they brought some heavy equipment with them.
We have, similar to last time, roughly 135 DOT plow trucks and an additional 145 contract trucks that we'll be using in this operation, as well as probably 50 to 60 heavy pieces of equipment, everything from front-end loaders to motor graders that can handle deeper snows.
So crews rested this morning and this afternoon, so they're ready to get to work clearing the snow just as soon as it begins to fall in other areas tonight. You can count on WRAL to bring you updates on the forecast and the preparations, no matter where you watch, on television, online, or with the WRAL News app. Turn on notifications so you receive important alerts right to your phone. Still ahead, the WRAL Investigates team tackles a central question in a high-profile murder. Why was the death of Lyric Woods ruled a mistrial? She and Devin Clark were found dead in Orange County in 2022. The jury rendered a guilty verdict for Clark's murder, but they couldn't agree for Woods' murder. We'll tell you what may be behind the deadlock. And we look back to 1996, the year Raleigh got back-to-back snowstorms. That sound familiar? Tonight's moment of nostalgia. Kat?
I might be doing that on some skis come Sunday. All right, let's take a live look at the radar where we have snow falling already in our northern counties. Coming up, meteorologist Mike Mays will join me for team coverage as we walk you through Futurecast heading into tonight.
A massive $500 million verdict in a civil case today involving Durham businessman Greg Lindbergh. As recently as 2018, he was the biggest political donor in North Carolina. Hundreds of thousands of people bought life insurance annuities from his companies, but it all fell apart when police accused him of bribery, money laundering, and more. Lindbergh pleaded guilty to one charge. Other charges are pending. Today in Wake County Civil Court, he was ordered to repay $526 million to the victims. WRAL state government reporter Will Doran tells us Lindbergh is hoping he can be rescued by President Trump.
And this is just a fall from grace for the man who used to be the biggest political donor in North Carolina just a few years ago. He's now seeking a pardon from President Donald Trump. That could throw a wrench into all of this. A pardon could prevent him from having to pay this money.
This is a story you will only see on WRAL. Will was the only reporter in court. For his look into this case and what may happen next, go to WRAL.com. The same jury that found Isaiah Ross guilty in the murder of Devin Clark could not agree on a verdict for Lyric Woods. The two teenagers were found dead in Orange County in 2022. Ross was accused of killing both, but the jury only found him guilty of killing Clark. For Woods, the jury couldn't decide, so the judge declared a mistrial. WR's Megan Cloherty is digging into what may have led to the jury's deadlock and what's next in the case.
4 days into deliberations, the jury foreman told Judge Stephanie Reese they were split 8-4 on a verdict in Lyric Woods' killing, and no amount of time would change that deadlock.
Based on all of that, I will grant the joint motion, declare mistrial as to that count.
Woods' family and friends were visibly shaken.
I think they experienced some confusion and some disappointment, certainly. But it's not the end of the road for her case.
It's up to prosecutors to decide whether to bring Woods' case to trial again or seek a plea. Durham attorney Daniel Meyer, who was not involved in the case, says the decision on whether to prosecute again depends.
If only 4 people thought guilty, the state really needs to think long and hard about if they're going to retry the case absent something new when there were 8 that wouldn't convict.
Ross claims self-defense in Devin Clark's killing and was convicted of second-degree murder.
It's confusing how they reached a verdict with one and not with the other.
It doesn't make sense that there are individuals who think that Isaiah killed Lyric but then it wasn't first degree on Devin. So it is one of those verdicts that doesn't really fit neatly into any category.
Ross is now serving more than 20 years in prison for killing Clark. He plans to appeal to the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Megan Cloherty, WRAL News.
Let's go back to our winter weather. The snow is already falling in some communities. Meteorologist Mike Mays in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Mike.
Yeah, it's Southern Virginia, our northern counties. That's where Futurecast pegged it yesterday, and still coming down at Carr Lake. Maybe not quite as heavy as it was just a short time ago. And Brian was pointing out there is some accumulation on the elevated surfaces, and the roads are certainly wet. And from time to time, we see a snowplow moving on by. We see a salt truck coming on by. So they got the roads taken care of. Now, here is our pieces of our puzzle coming together. There's the upper level energy. It will help a surface low begin to develop off the coast, or at least energize. And as that energy moves down to the south, this whole region here will start to develop precipitation. And we're already starting to see a blow up here in South Carolina in the form of rain. This will start to fill in with snow overnight and during the day tomorrow, and that low will spin up and move to the northeast. And the thinking is that we'll have bands of precipitation come in from the coast. So it could be like a two-part system. The upper level energy spreading snow here, and then the surface low spreading the snow in the eastern part of the viewing area. And some of our eastern counties and the coast could see quite a bit. So this is what we're looking at on the live dual Doppler 5000 radar. There are some darker shades in here. So toward Roxborough right now, and Bullock and Stovall, over toward Henderson and points northward, there could be some pretty decent snow showers or flurries coming on down right now. Over to Warrenton as well, Meadock Mountain State Park, over toward Littleton, seeing that snow. This will likely continue into the evening. As we look at temperatures, the wind chill 22 in Roxborough, 22 in Raleigh. Now, if you're heading to dinner or going out this evening for, say, Raleigh southward, I think you'll be okay. If you're up in the northern counties, the roads are going to be wet. If they're untreated, it's cold, so that will stick on the ground, the snow coming down. So be careful. The roads could get a little bit slick, especially elevated surfaces. Now, this is a product from NOAA showing the impact. Where you see the red, it's a major impact from the winter weather. Where you see the purple, it is an extreme impact at the coast. 8 to 12 inches for the Outer Banks, maybe 14. That's some of the wording I've seen from the Weather Service office out of Morehead City. 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. There could actually be blizzard conditions, and also there could be rough surf, coastal flooding, and also potential for some homes like at Rodanthe, like we saw over the summer, to come on down. And for us, as of right now, we're just looking for isolated power outages. Cat's got to look at the probabilities of likelihood of snow.
And, you know, these are using the newest run of the European model ensembles, about a 90 to 100% chance that you're going to see at least an inch of snow this weekend. As you get up to that 3-inch threshold, those probabilities are a bit higher in our eastern counties compared to the western part of our viewing area, but still over a 50% chance for much of our area, including the Triangle. As you go to 6 inches, there's a lot less certainty here. The chances are highest, though, in our eastern counties, and it doesn't mean that nobody listed here is going to see 6 inches of snow. It's just that there's a lot less certainty because we could be split between the two kind of sweet spots for the higher snowfall potential. Tonight, Futurecast has done a pretty good job with some of the northern banding of snowfall. The new run is showing the snow really filling into the Triangle by about 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's the second run in a row of our in-house model that has that exact time frame, and it did a pretty good job last weekend as we got closer to the event with the timing. 2 o'clock tomorrow, a decent chance of snow, but the heavier snow bands come really later in the afternoon and into tomorrow evening, and then the snow will push out of here tomorrow night. So by the time you wake up Sunday morning, it should be long gone. The clouds will gradually clear. Sunday will be bitter cold, but gradually it'll end up being a better day, I think, to go out and go sledding and things like that, compared to Saturday when the winds are really going to be strong. Saturday night, that's when you've got that wind gust potential, 30, maybe as high as 40 miles per hour in an isolated spot. So wind chills are going to be in the single digits. It's going to feel really, really cold. Next week, we do have a little bit of a warm up in store, but highs are only in the low 40s. That is still 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. We've got some moisture midweek, but it doesn't look like a big system set up for us. We will keep you up to date. First, we're going to get through this weekend, and WRAL has you covered every step of the way. We will have live coverage on WRAL News Plus starting at 8 o'clock.
It's going to be some cold sledding out there, Kat. Thank you. Coming up, you may think getting a 1-2 punch of winter weather is a first for our area, but look at this. 30 years ago, we had back-to-back snowstorms. We delve into the WRAL archives after the break. If you were here in 2000, you remember the snowstorm, 20 inches. But many of you also remember 1996. We had 2 storms that year, one in January, another in February. 6 inches in the first, 5 inches in the second. 30 years later, we're getting a 1-2 punch again. We went into the archives and found a story from the snowstorms of 1996. Thanks for joining us at 7. We leave you with your Friday moment of nostalgia.
One good pop.
It wasn't easy, but you know the motto, nothing stops the mail. Janet Hatcher and Frank Evans made sure of it in Person County. These letter carriers set out on their nearly 100-mile route an hour early this morning with some tricks of the trade.
In the beginning, it was pretty good.
Yeah, but it
was like it's melting, but now it looks like it's beginning to freeze a little more, and we got the sleet. Yeah, we got to beat the boxes open.
Knock the ice off the box so you can get into it.
Up Highway 501 as it crosses into Virginia, the freezing rain turned into sleet. Most people just decided to stay off the slushy roads. After making a right on 96 and heading toward Virgilina, we found Virginia power crews out looking for the source of a power outage.
Tree is on the line, somewhere farther up.
You may not believe where we found Virgilina's mayor. Because the electricity was out, he and his son set up a pump here at this well so the sewers wouldn't overflow and spill out onto the ground.
This is the second time this thing has happened now in 2 weeks.
Because of the weather?
Because of late failure, power line.
Heading south back into North Carolina, trees sagged under the weight of all the ice in Granville County. The cows huddled together to stay warm, and so did the people because of scattered power outages here, too. A few traffic lights were out in Oxford, but crews did high-wire acts, working fast to try to get the electricity back on.
My heating system won't run with no current. I got enough wood to run for 2 winters, so we'll survive.